Good evening, everyone, and thanks for attending this very interesting session. It's about NHS Finance for doctors, which is a very dark area for us. Thanks to Mr. Mohammed Al-Fiqi for offering his time and effort to take us through this and make it more clear and more easier to understand. Mr. Mohammed is a very expert accountant in Wolverhampton and the Midland area, and it's a very dear friend of mine. So hopefully it will be interesting, fruitful this session for every one of you. Keep all your questions in the chat box, and we'll try to answer all of them at the end. We explain the learning objectives, so we need you to understand what is Payslip, what's tax code, what's HMRC, and what should be your relation with HMRC in a good way. What's self-assessment, what's locum, what's limited company when you need it, and how to do it properly. The contact for Mr. Mohammed Fee will be in the last slide. So if anyone wants an personal advice or any more than you have, what you will get in the session, you can contact him directly. And the team from Also Excel is very grateful for him and grateful for you for attending today. And we hope all you a very fruitful, enjoyable session. Up to you, Mr. Fee.
Okay, good evening. Can you hear me?
We do.
Okay. Before I start, I'd like to apologize for last week. I had a family emergency. My brother passed away and I had to travel on Saturday. I just came back yesterday. So I do apologize. And with that done, let's move on. My name is Mohammed Al-Fiqi. I work and I own Ace Business Advice Limited. I am an accountant, member of the Institute of Accountants and Bookkeepers. I am also a registered HMRC tax agent, as well as Companies House authorized corporate service provider. My office is in Birmingham, West Midlands. I also have another office in Liverpool, and I'm working to start an office in London soon, inshallah. Okay, today we will talk about NHS Finances for Doctors, a practical guide from Payslips to Locums and beyond. The agenda for today will be HMRC, your Payslips and tax codes, allowances and child benefit, the Locum and the IRR 35 rules, self-assessment and limited companies. Then at the end, we will have question and answers for any of your questions or for anything that was not covered in my presentation. For HMRC, under the basics, we will talk about HMRC, we will talk about the payslip, and we'll have an example of an NHS payslip, and we'll talk about the different sections in the payslip. We will also talk about the tax codes and what it means and what's an emergency tax code and so on. Then the second part will be about your money, like what type of allowance do you have, such as marriage allowance, personal allowance, and so on. And we will talk about child benefits and the child benefit charges. Then we will move to the extra earnings, like beside your salary. We will talk about locum work, whether it is inside IR 35 or outside. And after that, we will be talking about self-assessment and limited companies and whether it is tax efficient to work through a limited company or through sole employment, like self-employed. Okay, let's start with HMRC. What's HMRC? Briefly, it is an agency or the agency in charge of UK tax, payments, and custom. It is an authority. And let's look at it like it's not the enemy, but it is a governing body with rules. And our job is to work within the rules and to work with the rules, not against them. How can we deal? I mean, what's the relationship between us, you, of course, doctors, and HMRC? It is a proactive, not a reactive relationship. It means that you have to register on time. Don't wait until the last minute. Don't delay the registering for things as such as self-assessment and so on. And the very important part is to file online, to file on time. File if you can, file early. For example, if you are doing a self-assessment, you have from the 6th of April of the current year until the 31st of January of the next year to file your tax return. As an accountant, I always suggest to my clients to do it as soon as possible. Don't wait until the last minute. Why? In case there's a mistake, we have time to fix it. Also, when you have to pay extra tax, you have time to pay the tax because you have to clear all the taxes before 31st of January. So you can pay it in installments. You don't have to wait until the last minute and pay it lump sum as one lump sum. And a second part of your relationship with HMRC is that you have to keep records of everything. As a sole trader individual, you have to keep the records for 5 years. As a limited company, you have to keep them for 6 years. And if you are only doing PAYE work, I mean, that means like you're only getting paid through salary work, then you have to keep the records for 22 months. It is always easier to be right from the start than to fix mistakes later. Also, HMRC nowadays loves to penalize people for filing late. They have penalties for that. For registering late as well, they have penalties. And also, if you make a mistake and they consider that not an honest mistake, then they will penalize you and they will charge you interest as well. As I mentioned, we need to register on time, keep impeccable records, and go digital. And that will take us into the next slide, which is to talk about the HMRC app. Why HMRC app is like you have the financial command center in your hand. It will show you your tax code. It will show you your national insurance records. It will allow you to file a simple self-assessment tax return. It will also allow you to claim tax refunds. If you have paid more tax, you can claim it back through the app. And also you can pay any due taxes through the app as well. It will be linked to your HMRC online services account, which is called the Government Gateway. You can use the Government Gateway ID and password to log into the HMRC app and view everything you have there. You can also see your child benefit charge or your child benefit payment there as well. Of course, you can view your employment history. You can check your current year and previous years there. Everything will be there. It's a single source of truth for your tax affairs. Now we will move to your allowances and tax codes, and we will start with a payslip. We have here a sample of an NHS payslip, which consists of three parts. At the top is the summary part. Then in the middle is the payment and deductions. Then at the bottom is year to date and current period totals. In the basics, you will see that you have your name, the doctor name. You will have your salary per year. How many hours do you work per week? And then if you do part-time or if you don't do full-time, then you will see your exact salary there. You will see your tax code and you will see your national insurance there. Make sure that everything is accurate, there's no mistake. If there is a mistake, speak to the HR department and they will correct it for you. The second part, where you can see your pay and allowances and deductions and refunds. In the left section, you will see the basic pay. If you have any extra work, overtime, if you have any, whatever payment due, like mileage, if you travel or whatever is due, you will see it there. You will see how much and what's the rate and what's the total in the amount. On the right side, you will see the deductions. For example, the PUIE is the tax, how much tax you owe. National insurance, if you contribute pension. Also, if you have a student loan, it will show there. If you have a car allowance from NHS, you will see it there. And if you have pension contribution, let's say a private pension, for example, you will see it there as well. And any other deductions, there is a very long list of deductions that NHS may apply to you, and you will see them all in the right side section of the payslip. The bottom part, start from the left, you will see the year-to-date balances. That means up to this month, including this month, how much money you were paid. how much national insurance you paid. That's the second part, NI pay. And how much, sorry, the top one is what's the amount like they calculate in order for you to pay national insurance. Let's say that's the total pay, 22,818, for example. It may include extra payment that's not calculated when it comes to pay national insurance. So when it comes to pay national insurance, they will only calculate, they will only consider 17,808, and based on that, you paid 1,105. The same thing, pensionable pay, also, that's the amount considered for pensions. Below the pensionable pay, that's your ID, your employment ID, and sorry, that's your yeah, that's your pension ID in NHS. Second half of the left is your taxable pay. How much is the total? How much tax you paid, and pension contributions, and your employee number. Then on the right side, you will see this period summary. How much pensionable pay, like for this month, the frequency, monthly, end date, and so on. It's very clear. Then the big box is the net pay, how much they will pay you, and or the take home amount that you will receive at the end of the month. Now these are the tax codes. The most famous one is the 1257L, which means you have an allowance of £12,570 tax free. Everybody who works in the UK gets that allowance. Then the income, like how much income, will like determine whether you keep the allowance or you lose some of it or you lose it completely. And and on the screen you can see the different type of letters. L, which is entitled to the standard tax-free allowance. M, if you received marriage allowance from your spouse. N, if you transferred some of your allowance to your spouse. Uh, Sorry, my Zoom is covering the screen. But I think if you can see it, like there are different letters. Zero T is like when you do like overtime job. BR when this is like a second job you started, and so on. And there's some emergency tax code. HMRC use those tax codes if you owe them some money from the previous year. Or if they think that you will owe them more tax than what you are paying in this year, then they will use emergency tax code, which allows them to deduct more tax from your pay or to reduce your allowance, your personal allowance. Also, they can use that if you decide to pay some of your child benefit back through PAYE deductions and any other reason that HMRC may think that you owe them some money. Now we'll move on to the child benefit. Before that, I'd like to touch on the marriage allowance. As I said, if you are married or you have a spouse and your spouse earns like they don't earn more than £12,570, they have to earn less than that. And you are a basic rate taxpayer. That means you earn up to 50,000, 50,000 and few hundreds. If that's the case, then your spouse can transfer £1,260 to your allowance. And you can backdate this to the year 21-22 tax year. In case you didn't make use of your allowance, you can ask HMRC to backdate that for you. Okay. We'll move to the child benefit. Child, as we know, any child under 16 or 20, if they are in full-time approved education, is entitled to child benefit for those who are living in the UK. For example, if you have one child, you will get around £1,354 and 60 pence per year. If you have two children, you will get 2,251.6. And if you have five children, for example, you will get 4,942 and 60 pence per year. However, there's like I think a few years ago, the government introduced like a ceiling, income ceiling for those who can receive child benefit. And they call it child benefit tax charge for those with income more than £60,000. So if your income is below £60,000, you will get the full child benefit. Then when your income reaches £60, they will start deducting percentage based on your income, and you will lose all the child benefit once you reach £80,000 or more. Once you do that, you have three options to pay back the child benefit you received in the year before. Either you do a self-assessment, then you declare your income, then HMRC will calculate and ask you to pay back the child benefit. Or you can, through the app or through your HMRC online account, you can choose that HMRC deducts the child benefit through your salary. They can do that. The third option, if you know that you will always have an income above £80,000, is to ask them not to pay your child benefit, to opt out, in order to reduce the admin work you need to do, for example, doing a self-assessment, and also to reduce the cost. You may need an accountant or something, and you will pay them. So if you opt out, you will save on that. Before we move to the locum, how do they count your income? They call it adjusted income. What they count is that they count your salary, including they count, for example, if your salary is 80,000, they will count that. They will not include your allowance. And then, but they will include if you pay any pension, they will deduct that from your salary. If you give any donations, gift aid, they will deduct that from the total. Then they will add on top of that if you have any self-employment or if you have rental income, if you have savings and so on, whatever extra income they will add on top of your income, and that's your adjusted income. If your adjusted income is above 80,000, that's when you lose the child benefit. Okay. Now we will move into the next part, talking about extra work, such as locum, or if you are doing it as a self-employment or as a limited company.
So, Mr. Fee, just a minute. So,
Yes,
do you like we answer the question for every section, or we get all the question in one go?
it's up to you.
I think it's easier to, yeah, so we speak about child benefit. We have three questions. So I think it will be more easier to answer it now rather than just waiting for all the question at the end.
uh,
Or if you prefer, we can keep it at the end.
it's up to you. Okay, you can go ahead. You can go ahead.
Yeah, so
Ask the questions. Yeah,
the first question is a child benefit worked on one parent or both parents?
both.
Okay.
And the person with the higher salary is the one who will be affected.
Okay. The second question is, can you clarify more if my wife doesn't work, how this can be added on my allowance? So he speaks about the marriage allowance.
Yes, let's say if your salary is up to £50,000 and your wife does not work, she will transfer £1,260 to your tax-free allowance. So instead of having £12,570, you will add £1,260 on top, and that will be your tax-free allowance.
But I think in this point, Mohammed, I think is that the problem is most of our salaries as even the middle grades is above 51,000.
Okay,
So in if that's the case, I don't think we are eligible for marriage allowance, do we?
just in case there are some GPs or junior doctors with us today.
Yeah, but I mean the cutoff is 51,000. So if your income is more than
It's
51,000,
not 51, it's 5,200 something, I think.
yeah, I know, but I
It's
mean,
yeah.
yeah, make it easier. So
Yeah.
if your income is more than 51,000, you are not allowed for a marriage allowance.
Yes, yes. And
So
if your wife is getting more than £12,570 salary, you are also not allowed. I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
So another question about child benefits, is it only for residents or it needs a UK passport?
No. It does not need a UK passport.
So it's for everyone.
Yes, yes.
Rami, I think we answered the same question. So if is there a calculator for adjusted net income?
Yes, there is. There is. It's not in front of me now, but if you search in Google child benefit charge calculator and follow the HMRC one, it will be there.
Perfect. Karim is asking if my wife has salary less than 50K and
Yes.
I earn more than 80K and she applies for a child benefit, is this not allowed?
No, it is allowed. They will pay you, but then they will expect that you do a self-assessment and pay it back. If you don't, they will send you a letter 1 or 2 years later and then put penalties and interest on top.
Okay. I think this is all the question we have in the child benefit section, so we can move on to the locum.
Okay. Many doctors will be wondering, should I do a locum work or not? So let's talk about the pros. You will get a higher hourly rate and you will be flexible. And also you will have a diverse experience. You work in different locations and meet different people. The disadvantages is that you don't get any benefits of the employee. For example, you don't get sick pay, you don't get annual leave, you don't get structured training for juniors, for example. And on top of that, you have to do admin work such as invoicing. If you're doing it as self-employment, as self-employed, invoicing, keeping records, and so on. So these are the pros and cons. But how can you maximize your income legally? Is that you have to keep meticulous records of all income and expenses. For example, travel, professional fees, courses, and so on. And then you have to understand the difference between being paid through an agency and through your own limited company. We will talk about the limited company later as well. But if you are being paid through an agency, it is basically a PEYE. So they will deduct the tax at source and send it to HMRC. So you don't have to do a self-assessment at the end of the year. But you need to make sure that the agency or the umbrella company is approved by HMRC because HMRC does not like a lot of umbrella companies. And I have some clients who received warning letters from HMRC for using certain umbrella companies. So you need to really be cautious about this. Because many of the umbrella companies, they will deduct the tax of you and not pay it to HMRC. Then HMRC will come back and ask you to pay it again.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Just a
be
point.
careful with that. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry to disturb.
Go ahead.
So we have three, yeah, because the majority of the locum here
Yes.
will be a locum is through a bank. So bank rate rather than a locum, a free locum.
Okay.
So it's inside IR35.
Okay.
So I mean just make it three categories. So number one, who is doing a bank locum in his trust. So
Okay.
he's paid as BAYE
Yeah.
or a locum through an agency or a locum through his own limited company. So because the first category is the majority
Okay.
who
The
is
first category.
working.
Yeah. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Sorry. Sorry. Continue.
No. Just because I know the all will be interested to know if I'm doing locum through a bank account in my trust and I get all my salary, all my salary already taxed from the
Yes.
source.
Yes.
Does he need to do anything? Any pros or cons of this? Any tricky point?
Okay. Okay. Yes. The first part through the bank is basically it is like a second job, more or less as a second job, but it gives you the flexibility of claiming more expenses such as travel, which you cannot claim with the first job. If you are doing the bank at a different location, not at the same hospital, then you will claim the mileage between the hospital and the second location, not your home. Okay. However, I have some clients who, even though they are being like billed or paid through the bank and through the NHS trust, sometimes they take less tax. So you have to be careful because HMRC will send you a letter asking you to pay the difference. So make sure that you paid enough tax. If you paid more, HMRC will refund the difference automatically, I think, in July or something of the next year. But if you paid less, then they will expect you to pay the difference. The agency is similar to the bank, but it is a little bit risky, as I said, because some umbrella companies don't pay the tax and the insurance. They just take it, and for example, 2 or 3 years down the line, they declare bankruptcy and don't pay anything. In that case, HMRC will come after you. They don't care that you have already paid that because they don't like you to work through an umbrella company. And the third part is working through your own limited company or as a self-employed, a sole trader. Both you are responsible. So you will do, if you are a sole trader, you will do a self-assessment tax return after the 6th of April. between 6th of April and 31st of January. If you are working through a company, then the company will do a corporation tax. It's a different type of accounting, so it's not similar. It is more flexible with the company. We will speak about it when we talk about limited company. Is there any other question regarding this point?
Yeah, we have a couple of questions. So
Okay.
Ziad is asking if I'm on locum contract, not a bank, and not in the IR35. Am I
Okay.
considered self-employed and need to file a self-assessment?
Yes.
Okay. Rami is asking about extra work like ACA in the same trust. So I think we covered this. You're basically doing a bank.
Doing bank, yes.
Yeah. So if the same trust you are already employed for, so it will be normal taxing from the source as BAYE. But if you're doing locum as a bank in another trust, so you can claim your travel.
I'll
Now,
make it easy for you. I'll make it easy for you. If they give you a pay slip, then most probably you are a bank. If they ask you for an invoice, then you are self-employed.
Ines, you're asking about IR35. I think Muhammad will go through it in a
Yeah,
minute.
we will talk about it.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mom.
Okay. So we have spoken about the pros and cons, and we have spoken about how to maximize your allowed expenses. Okay, now we will speak about the IR35 rules for the locums. What's IR35? It is a rule to determine if you are a disguised employee. If you act like an employee, you should be taxed like an employee, even if you work through your own limited company. This is what HMRC thinks. And this is what why they have created this IR35 rules. Normally, if you work for big public organizations such as NHS, they are responsible for determining whether you are inside IR35 or outside IR35. And they have to tell you that before you start the work. However, if you work for small clients, small GPs, and so on, then you have to decide uh, based on the IR35 test. What's the IR35 test? It is basically who controls how, when, and where you work. If it is the employer, then most probably you are inside IR35. But if you have freedom, let's say to tell them I can work today, I cannot work tomorrow, and so on, then it is outside IR35. Are you allowed to send a substitute? If yes, then it is outside. If no, that means you only have to do the work yourself, then it is inside. Also, is there an ongoing expectation? That means you can't take a break. You have to keep working for the same GP, for example, without any break, then most no break between projects. Then most probably you are inside IR35. How to avoid the IR35? First, you have to have a clear contract with your client that you are self-employed. The contract should state that you are self-employed. Also, you have to be flexible. The job has to be flexible. It doesn't have to you don't have to stick to certain hours, certain days. No, flexibility is very important. And also make sure you have multiple clients, not only one client. If you're not sure, always ask a professional. Okay, before we move, any questions about IR35?
I think it's fine. I think it concerns more the consultant. So that's why it's not like a very interesting area. But it's clear. So are you working inside IR35 or not? And this, to be honest, from the practice, this will depend a lot on the who you are working for. So
Exactly.
sometimes the trust just relax their mind and keep everything inside IR35 so they don't worry about that by tax claims and stuff. But
Yes.
yeah, if you can get yourself outside IR35, that's much better money, but with
Yes.
more hassle.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't think we have any questions, so we can carry on.
Okay. Self-assessment. Who needs to file a self-assessment? Anybody who has self-employment income above 1,000. That means if you only make 1,000, you don't have to do a self-assessment and you don't pay tax on that. You can keep the 1,000. Also, if you have a salary above 150,000 a year, and if you have a child benefit charge, that means your salary is above 80,000 and you have to do self-assessment in order to pay back the child benefit. Also, if you have different income, for example, from property, or you have savings which generates interest. You trade, you buy and sell shares or cryptocurrencies and so on. So if you have any other income, you have to do, and of course the income has to be above 1,000. You have to. A new rule that will affect many people who make starting this year, who make more than £50,000 from self-employment. For example, landlords, or if you are doing mainly locum but not in a bank, like the doctor who asked, if they have made £50,000 in the year 24, 25, then they have to file the tax return digitally. They call it making tax digital for income tax. What it means you have to file your tax return 4 times a year plus one final self-assessment at the end of the year. Every 3 months, you have to do a digital submission of your income to HMRC. You can do that through a software, or you can do that through an accountant. And for those who earn 30,000 or more in the year 25, 26, they have to start doing that from 6th of April 27. For those who earn 20,000 or more in the year 26, 27, they have to start doing that on the 6th of April 2028. The 50,000, they will start doing it from next year, 6th of April 2026. As I said, you have to use a special software. I think most of them until now, there's not a free option. HMRC is not introducing a free option for you. So you have to subscribe to things like QuickBook or Sage or Free Agent, or you go through an accountant. I think most software will be costing between 20 to £30 a month. If you look at on an accountant, it might be similar price, sometimes less, sometimes more. I think most probably it will be less. For example, myself, I charge about £40 for every 3 months. But then when you start looking at it, the cost you are going to pay will be more or less similar to if you have a limited company. Then that's when you start thinking whether you should go through a limited company or keep working as a sole trader.
So yeah, we have two questions.
Okay.
So Ziad is asking about interest coming from saving accounts.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ziad, it applies. The same rule applies. So if you gaining more than 1,000 as an interest, you need to file a self-assessment.
There might be
Right?
an interest allowance. Let me double check. But continue with your question
Yeah, yeah.
until I
So
check
the
again.
next question is about the same. So is it 1K per year or 2K? So I think it's 1K now.
I
So
think the
it's
2K, no, the interest is all, they made it 1,000 as well.
yeah. So everything is 1,000. So if you're making interest,
No, no,
not the same.
not everything, not everything. You have self-employment income 1,000, and you have a different interest allowance 1,000. So you
Okay.
get the allowance for everything. For example, if you have a limited company and you take dividends, you have £500 dividend allowance, and so on. Everything has an allowance.
No, but I mean to make it simple. So if he have some money saved in an account
Yes,
and
yes.
he got like 1,100 interest, he
Okay.
should file a self-assessment.
Yes,
Okay. And if someone is getting a self-employed or a locum, and I'm sorry, a limited company, and
yes.
he has some sort of dividends of more than 1,000, he still need to self-assess.
More than 500.
More than 500. Okay, he need to self-assess.
Yes.
So what type of tax lying? I think you may feeling tax filling if you are doing some work through LLB, so in the same trust.
LLP, limited liability partnership.
Yes.
It is the same, but it will apply to every individual partner separately. Like, for example, if an LLP is owning a property, each one of them will have to do a separate self-assessment based on their share in the LLP, in the
Okay.
partnership.
I'm a salarized employee with an NHS trust. I assist few consultant for their private cases outside, and they transfer the money directly to my bank account. Sometimes it's less than 1K per year. Do I need to declare? If I think it's still 1K. So
If
if
it
it
is,
goes beyond the
yeah,
1K, you have to do a self-assessment.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, per year, not per transaction.
No, no, per year, yeah.
Yes,
So
yes,
again, guys, so if assisting someone and you get the money directly to your account from his business account, and it goes beyond 1K, you need to self-declare this or self-assessment, do a self-assessment. If you're getting this from your limited company, if you're getting this from interest over your savings, so if you get interest from your saving more than 1K, you have to self-assess. If I'm earning,
Also, yeah,
yeah.
go ahead. Go ahead.
No, no, no. If you have any comment.
Also, if you have CGT, capital gain tax, also you have to do self-assessment. For
Yeah, it
example, you buy,
applies.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, applies for all capitals and applies
yes,
for renting. Anything you're gaining. So basically, make it more basic. If you're gaining anything outside your main employment, which goes beyond 1K, you need at least most of them you need to self-assess unless there's something different.
yeah.
If I'm earning the interest through ISA, do I need a
Okay.
self-assessment?
ISA, like you will only do self-assessment if you take the interest out. But if you keep it in the ISA, no, the ISA is tax-free for now. They will change it soon, but for now it is tax-free.
So Hassan, if you keep it inside the ISA, you don't
Yeah,
need to self-assess. If you get it out, you need to self-assess.
yeah,
If it is beyond 1K.
yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, Mohammed, go ahead.
Okay. Now we'll move on to limited companies. When to consider having a limited company? If you have significant private work that's outside IR 35. And what are, for example, also if you have spouse and children that you can register as employees in the company, of course, you have to have some rules for them to justify paying them a salary. What are the benefits, potential tax efficiency, and limited liability? What are the risks? It's complex structure. There's lots of admin costs, for example, accountant's fee. And then you have to make sure that your job is outside IR 35 because you will be responsible if you're working with small clients. And also tax, corporation tax used to be 19%. A few years ago, they changed it to 25% if your profit is more than 50,000. So the tax might go up, but for now it is like between 19 and 25%. It is not a DIY job. It is always good advice to seek professional help because a case it's different from one person to another. Circumstances for one doctor might be good to have a limited company. For another doctor, it might not. As we will see later on, I have some examples. Okay, let's assume a doctor, his salary is £80,000. And then he gets extra locum work of 30,000. Should he do it through sole trader or through a limited company? I have the table in front of you. I don't know if you can see it. If you're using a mobile phone, you can put it into landscape mode.
Now we can see it clearly.
Yeah. Okay. So if he's a sole trader, he will pay a tax and national insurance about £13,046. So the doctor will keep 16,954. It is simple. You just do a tax self-assessment tax return, and that's it. If you're working through a limited company on your own, that means you don't have a spouse, then you will pay corporation tax about 13,733. Sorry, this is the balance between the corporation tax and the dividend tax. So it will be 13,733. You keep 16,267. But there's extra costs such as accountants, payroll, and so on. However, if you have a spouse, then that's a game changer because you will only pay tax of 6,100 and you as the doctor keep 4,845 and your spouse will keep 19,055, a total of 23,000. So as you can see, if you don't have a spouse, it is good to go through a sole trader. If you have a spouse, it's very good to go through a limited company. Second example, if you have a 40,000 locum work, and we can see the totals. Sole trader will get 22,000, more than a limited company. Some people will be surprised by these calculations, but this is very important because the doctor cannot get a salary through the limited company because they're already getting 80,000. So it's not going to be tax efficient to get extra salary from the limited company. That's why you can see the numbers slightly lower for the limited company. But if they have a spouse, then they will always get more. And finally, if you get 80,000 extra work plus your salary, the numbers are in front of you. There's about 10,000, almost £10,000 difference if you go through a limited company. To summarize, we have touched
Muhammad,
on
just a minute.
yeah,
So, just because the limited company issue is a very, very frequent question.
yes,
So, yeah, so there is a question if my spouse, this means the spouse doesn't work. Yes, because
yes,
again, the same rules will apply for her. So she has to get her income will be 12,000 maximum. Other than this, she will be taxed herself.
yes.
Guys, the self,
Also, if the spouse is getting below 50,000, a limited company will still be a better choice.
yeah. So without a spouse, definitely limited company is not a good choice. The second point is, guys, you need to be careful. If you are paid inside the IR35, there is no point of making a limited company.
Yes,
You will pay cost more than you will gain benefit, and
yes,
a lot of complexity. So the corporate tax is not simple as a self tax,
yes.
and um, and I don't think it's advisable from practice point of view for anyone who is still in a middle grade, who is not doing a full locum job to go for a limited company. That's my experience. So if you're
Yes.
doing full-time locum, yes, you can go for a limited company. Other
You
than
go,
this, not.
yes. If you're doing full time, it's not, you can definitely go for limited company
Exactly. The second
because,
point,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah. The second point is a visa. Be careful that you are not allowed to work more than 20 hours outside your employment to maintain your tier two till the moment. I think this is even going to be less after that. So again, be careful about this. Um, does the house mortgage gets affected if I'm using it as a place for the company?
The
It's not.
mortgage, oh, sorry.
I think no, I think yeah, she will claim you can claim for the place,
Does
but
she
it's
mean that
not.
the mortgage will be more expensive, or does she mean she can claim home use for the
You're
business?
asking if it will be affected or not as a mortgage.
I don't think like the bank will ask you whether you're doing limited company and you're registering limited company in your house or not.
She's asking if she will need to have a business mortgage or she can stay on your
No,
personal
no, no,
mortgage.
no,
No, you
no,
can
no.
stay on your
Because
personal mortgage.
because
That's
because
not a big
because
problem.
yeah, the house is her, mainly it's the residence. If she's like renting a room to the business, that's just a small portion of the house, so it will not be affected.
The second point, guys, regarding the limited company, you need a very honest and clever accountant. Otherwise, you will be paying more than the personal. So, from experience of many of my colleagues, it's not that simple as you imagine. For myself, I was very lucky because Muhammad is my accountant, but you're not always lucky. So, Ines is asking, how can I do a limited company? You need to
Come
contact
to me.
Muhammad to do that. So, no, it needs to be done properly, guys.
Yes,
You can do it yourself. You can do it through Tide. You can do through it a lot of applications which get you it's just a 50 pounds cost. But the point is, if you don't choose the codes rightly, if you don't choose the activities
the
rightly,
shares. Yeah,
that's not a simple one.
yeah.
And you definitely need an accountant if you think about adding your spouse because you need a payroll and that's again another cost. So think about it globally. It's not like yes or no. The answer has a lot of gray area. So I think before you go ahead with a limited company, it will not cost you anything. Muhammad will be volunteering to answer your one question about you advise you to go for a limited company, not free, just for us. So we'll get all the details from to contact Muhammad about this. But if you will go for a limited company, don't do that without a clear professional advice. So all the details for contacting Muhammad is on the screen. I'm not marketing for him, but he honestly one of the best. And all my friends who I refer to him are very happy because we have as a consultant we have a lot of problems with the accountants. They don't answer. They always give you like whatever the advice without giving a lot of care to it or a lot of attention to it. So having a good accountant is not an easy job in this country.
And I do speak Arabic.
Huh? Yeah, and he does speak Arabic. That's a perfect one as well.
Yeah.
But no, but from professional point of view, to be honest, yeah, Muhammad has saved a lot of my friends from big problems with HMRC. Guys, the self-assessment is not a simple issue. That's here is a big issue, and you know they can forgive in anything except tax. So if you think you may need a self-assessment, again, seek advice from a professional. And if you need a self-assessment, do it on time because a lot of people doesn't know about the self-assessment and they end in a big problem with the HMRC. Nada's asking if the locum pay will top the regular salary to above 100K. No spouse? Is it advisable to go for a limited company or how to avoid the 60% trap?
No, because if your pay is already like if you're already in the higher tax or the extra tax rate, then there's no point going to a limited company if you don't have a spouse because you don't take a salary from the limited company because it will be taxed higher as well. It will be exactly like my last image. This one is for an income of 160,000 pound a year, 80,000 through PUIE, 80,000 through locum work. So as you can see, it is if you are single, like on your own, it is still better to go through a sole trader, not a limited company.
So yeah, in a simple terms, Nada, you can still do a solo trader and a sole trader and still you do a self-assessment and you bought all your costs. So it is a
Yes,
mini limited company. So I mean there's no it's not limited company or not. There is a sole trader which is between both of them. I mean if I'm doing like because Ines is asking the same question. So if you Ines getting an NHS pay of 100,000 and you don't have a spouse, there is no point to go for a limited company, but you can use the sole trader, get a good accountant like Muhammad, and get all your costs added to the self-assessment, your professional expenses, your subscriptions, your Royal College, your GMC, your courses, if it's related to the same job, all these expenses added and the self-assessment, and you will get a good cost count from from the tax, and your tax will be efficient. Rather than going for a limited company, you cannot get your money out. So the problem, another problem with a limited company, even if you tax it less, this amount will not go in your pocket unless you have a spouse which can be paid as a salary.
and
Other
dividend as
than
well,
this
salary and
money will
dividend.
stay in
Yeah,
the company,
yeah,
and taking it off the company will get you back to the normal tax.
yeah.
So there is no point of that.
Yeah, you can see the middle column, the calculation for limited company. On the contrary, you will get less money than a sole trader.
Uh, they asking for a session about taxes, smart way of tax evasion. No, you mean efficient, without breaking
Efficiency.
any rules, insurance and mortgage. That's a quite in Ziad, this is a quite a big area of discussion, mortgage and insurance and all this stuff. But we can think about this. It may need
Yes, but
need a
but
lot of
but
arrangements.
but this does not affect doctors. This is
Exactly,
general
exactly.
tax discussions. Yeah, well, I don't mind if there's enough number of you who want that,
Yeah.
we can do that.
Ines is asking, when is there any need to do limited company if I only work for NHS? I think we answered this clearly.
No.
So if you don't have a spouse, especially if you don't have a spouse, there is no point. And if you just NHS, because NHS pays you through PAYE, so
Yes.
inside IR35, you already tax it from
Yes.
the source. There
Yes.
is no point to put the money in a company, which will be taxed again. Uh, Ahmed is asking you, how much are we charged per tax year? I didn't get that, Ahmed. You're asking about what? You
You
charge
mean
it
the
per.
self-assessment or what?
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I think, Mohammed, do you mind to just disclose?
I don't mind. I'll give you an indication, but it it,
Yes.
it, it it depends on the complexity of because let's say a landlord can come to me with one property and a landlord can come to me with 10 properties. So, but if there's a straightforward self-assessment, I charge between £150 and £300 per year. So it depends how complex it is.
Nada, she says sole trader term is unfamiliar compared to the limited company. No, sole trader basically you are getting money outside your main employment by in a limited company. So a money you can cut some expenses from, as simple as that. So you
Yes.
have two sources of income, a main employment and another source of income, which you can use it to cut some expenses. So you need to do a self-assessment for it. That's the term sole trader. No, it's not like a special term. It explains that you are gaining more money from a different source of employment rather than your main employment.
It means you are operating as like as a person, not as a company. Like
Uh,
you are running your business as a person, as not as a company.
Yes. Ahmed asking if I took 2 months off between two jobs and I locumed for a few shifts during this time, do I get allowances on these locum shift? You
The
mean,
allowance, yeah.
I think he mean costs, not allowance. Because,
I will answer both. The
mm,
allowance is not job related. The allowance is your total allowance per year. So they calculate all your income. If your income is below 125,000, I think you get the full allowance. After that, they start deducting for every pound, £2 from the allowance. They have a calculation, but yes, the allowance is not per job. The expenses, yes, if it's locum as a sole trader and you have incurred some expenses, yes, you can calculate that and put it into the self-assessment, and it will affect your total income, not only the locum income.
Ahmed Yusuf is asking, this is a simple question, Ahmed. So if you reimpressed for the course from any source, you cannot put it in the self-assessment.
Yes.
So you already,
Same thing goes for the mileage as well.
exactly, anything you
Yes.
reimbursed for from any source, you cannot put in the self-assessment. You cannot get the cost twice.
Yes.
If is the meeting recorded? Yes, it is. Not again the sole trader. Guy is sole trader. Basically, he is running a business as a single person, not a company, and this business is outside his main employment.
Sole
So
trader is self-employed.
exactly, he
Yes.
self-employed himself. Well, as a person, there is no, he doesn't have a company, and this business is outside his main employment. As simple as that. If you are on a bank for another trust, this is a sole, you can use this as a sole trader if they are paying you outside IR35. So if I'm doing a locum, I'm working in Friendly Health. I'm doing a locum in, sorry, in Ashford St. Peters. Okay. If they pay me as a bank, so inside IR35, they already cut the tax from the source before they give me the money. You are not a sole trader. You're just getting more bank from a different source. And at this time, you have to be careful if you're still on a visa because you cannot do more than 20 hours a week for that. If you are getting from St. Peter's, which is a different trust, your money as a bank, but not inside IR35, so they pay you the money untaxed, yes, you can be a sole trader and you can get this in a self-assessment at the end of the year, cut all your costs from, and then at that time that you'll be taxed on the net amount. Kareem, how to avoid salary just going above 100K with new tax rules and incremental raise. This you have to look after. Mohammed, do you have any advice for that? But I don't think you can control this. Kareem, you need to be
Yeah,
careful
yes.
about the locum
Workless,
you do.
workless.
Exactly. No, it's because all the salaries now. So the highest, if I'm not wrong, the highest is now beyond 90 for even the old contract, the 2016
Okay.
contract for the associate specialist and the specialty doctor. So you can stop it there. The more than 100K is definitely some extra work you're doing. So avoid the extra work you're doing and be minded by the 100K. So you will see a net amount, not a net amount, is you will see a total amount of what you have been paid in every pay slip. Just keep yourself minded that if you feel this is going above 100K, try to stop doing any extra work.
I will suggest a very useful website for you to check how much tax you will be paying, national insurance, and so on. Listen to taxman.com. One word, listen to taxman.com. You can put your annual salary, it will tell you. So based on that, you can see whether is it worth it to, let's say, get a salary of 110 or stay at 90,000. All the figures will be in front of you. Listen to taxman.com.
I'm starting my first consultant job and will earn 109K at the start of the scale. Uh, any advice for me? No, God helps you. Ahmed, there is, يعني, this, yeah, the advice is the one 09K. Anyway, they will be calculating. See, it's not a big problem because the only who which will go beyond 100K and the high tax will go on is the 9,000 pounds. So the 100,000 pounds will
No,
stay.
it's I think it's above 125, not 100.
No, but for as a salary, 125.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
but to be honest with you, I'm in a consultant job for the last 18 months. This my second year, so I didn't have any problem with that. It's still the tax go the same, and just be careful about extra work because that's where the problem is. I have paid for a course 6 years ago. Can I claim this?
You can claim for 4 years back.
Yeah, up to 4 years. You cannot go more than this.
And you can only claim if your expenses are less than 2,500 per year. If they are more, then you have to do self-assessment.
Yeah. So I think is the digital one, the digital tax return is only 2,500. Yeah. More than
Up
this,
to,
you have to self-assess.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Good. Guys, any more questions?
If the doctor who earns 100,009,
Yeah.
they will get a net wage of 71,981.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, any more questions? Okay, Hamad, thank you so much. That's really, really helpful. I promise you, all of us, I myself get a lot of benefit from it. I got a lot of new information. So, and I think this will help a lot of them to be tax efficient, to be financial efficient. It's a very dark area for doctors. We are not very good with numbers. So, I think you shedded a lot of light on that. And thank you so much for your time and for the
Yes,
presentation.
you treat patients, we handle tax.
Yeah. There is a last question about tax code.
Okay,
So, Akib, his tax code has changed recently from 12,257 L to 835 LX
okay,
after changing a job in August 2025. Currently doing one job with gross income between 90 to 95K.
okay.
Can he contact you personally, as he's suspecting he paying a high tax?
Yes,
Yeah,
he
you
can
can.
contact me, of course. And I think the problem is that HMRC does not know that you have left your first job. So you have to call them and tell them you have left the first job, and they will put your tax code back to 1257L.
Guys, by the way, for regarding the change of the tax code, so I had the same problem before. So if you pay it from two income sources, even it's one off payment, they will add more tax. They will reduce your allowance, your free allowance. So
Yes.
they get more tax from you than you refunded free. So like I was teaching in one of the trust, and for because it's very stupid mistake, they paid me from the trust. So for the HMRC, I become paid from two trusts. So suddenly my tax code has changed and they cut a lot from my free allowance. And I have to send them letter and to speak to them. And then they said, okay, by the end of the year, if you don't get any more payment from this trust, we'll refund you the money. But for now, you are paid from two sources for us. So be careful if you are paid from another trust that you be sure that this money, how it will come and we will be under what category. So it was a course, but they mention it like a salary. So it goes into my account as a salary. So they feel that I'm getting salary from two trusts. And I can assure you, they are HMRC, as Muhammad mentioned at the start, is not our enemy. And they are very honest in this point. So when
And
you
they will pay
owe
you
your money,
back.
they
They
will
will
pay
pay you
back.
back. Yes,
Definitely
they
they
will
do.
pay you
Definitely
back.
they do. Good. Ahmed is asking if I earn more than 100K, do I lose all my tax allowances or it's above 120? No, you not lose your allowance. The point is your tax will be higher. So you not lose any allowance even you go above 120. The point is,
You start losing the allowance when you go more than 125.
yes, so 125, so you mean you are very rich man.
For
So you
example,
not
if you have a salary of 140,000, your allowance is gone.
exactly. So
Yes.
about 120, you will not lose allowance, but you will be pay more tax.
Yeah.
So and yeah. That's the point. Is no. It's in this country, and it's not even you paid more, you gain more. Sometimes you paid more, you gain less.
Yes.
So yeah,
That's why refer to the website I gave you. Listen to taxman.com. You will get a clear idea.
no, there is no problem. There's a question. It was a problem going above 100K. There is no problem, but
Yeah.
from 100K to 140, you will be paying more tax, and from 140 above, you will lose your allowances. So actually, if I'm in your shoes, I will try myself to stop at 100K. If there's no way, like you are a consultant and earning like 120, so I will be careful not to go above 140 by extra work. Otherwise, you will be paying more than you are getting. In a simple way, a consultant earning 120K will be getting home more than a consultant getting 140K.
Yes. Once you lose your allowance, you're basically paying about 60% tax.
Exactly. So
Yes.
if you're gaining, if you earning 120K, you will be getting home more than someone who is earning 150K. That's UK. So, okay. Uh, Perfect. Okay, so guys, if we are approaching an hour, thank you so much, Muhammad. One more
Thank
time.
you.
Any question, Muhammad will be happy to answer. If you uh, want to do anything with Muhammad, just refer to also Excel, and I promise you of a good discount. And more than important than the discount, Muhammad is a very honest, very professional, very clever, and I experienced this myself. So hope all of you will be financially efficient and. We will think about making another session about all other discussions, including insurance, including mortgage. But let us plan it. Last
Okay.
question, Muhammad, from HMRC. We changed your code because you have invested 93. I'm not 93. What? 93
1,000 maybe.
pounds. Oh,
In what? Invested in what?
what did you invest in, Hassan? So we can follow you. Savings.
No, because you have let's say if you go through an ISA, you have tax free. But I think what happened is that maybe he got some interest from the saving, which he did not declare. So because now HMRC they get every income you earn, whether in the UK or overseas, it will be reported to them. So you have to be careful with that. Let's say I have some clients who have shares in Turkey, shares in France, in the USA. All of those get reported to HMRC as well, and you have to declare that.
Is there 3,000 allowance of capital gains per year?
Yes,
So Nabil, Muhammad Nabil will make contact to you. This is one of his problem is the capital gain. So if
yes.
if Nabil is up to 3,000, so that's fine. If more than 3,000, so Muhammad is the answer.
Let me check exactly what's the capital gain rate for 25 CGT.
You said 109K will end up around 70K after tax. Does this include pension?
No, that's only the payment. If there's pension, it will reduce the tax.
It will reduce both. So we reduce
Yes.
the net amount, so reduce the tax.
No, but I mean, we don't consider reducing the net amount because you have that money saved for the future.
Yeah, but it will definitely reduce
Yes,
the amount.
yes.
Hassan was asking about the savings.
Yes,
ISA.
the allowances, the CGT allowance is £3,000.
Yeah, 3,000 for the capital.
Yeah.
And the tax is
Hassan was
Hassan, his
saying,
tax
yeah.
code is 349TX.
Yes, X is an emergency tax code. I think he owes them some money. That's why they changed his tax
So that's
code.
not the Hassan is not the final picture. So they will get more money from you, then
Yes.
they will think about it at the end.
Then give you
They owe you,
back,
we
pay
will
you
pay
back.
you. Otherwise,
Yes,
they will send you a letter saying you have to pay this to us.
yes.
And mostly they give it you pay it back
July, around July.
around July. Sometimes if it's a big amount, they ask you to pay it over 9 months.
No, I mean they will pay you back around July. But if you
Yeah,
owe them money, then they will
yeah,
send you a
you
letter
can pay it. Yeah,
and they will tell you when to pay exactly.
yeah, or otherwise they will reduce it from your allowance, from the free
Yes,
allowance.
yes.
Any more questions, guys? Feel free to ask and feel free to reach myself or to reach Muhammad. يعني just
I think Dr. Muhammad next maybe in his future job he can be an accountant. He knows a lot.
no, 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 no. No, it's all from the problems,
Yes,
It's
yes,
trial and error.
yes, yes,
It's just trial and
yes.
error. Good. Okay. So, guys, thank you so much for your time and thanks for attending. This will be on the YouTube channel for also Excel. So, for the benefit of all of you, if you want to go back to any point and reinsure, what should you do? Again, it's free to reach myself or to reach Muhammad for a question. Just please and please make it very minimal question because of time. It's just we'll be happy to answer you, but if we have time for. So make the question very specific and clear. So don't ask about general rules because ChatGPT can do this job. Uh, Mohammed, someone is asking because of HR delay, I got my March pay in April. Can I ask them to consider this? But
It,
this
the,
from
the,
this
the,
from
the,
your
the
employer. Yeah.
Yes, the payslip will say which period is that, and also it depends on the HR. If you have submitted the data to HMRC stating that it is March, it will be considered for March, even though it came late. But if when they submitting the data, they say this is for April, even though the payslip says March, then it will be considered for April. So it depends. I cannot be sure.
And your P60 will reflect that.
The P60 will reflect that. If you log into your HMRC app, it will show you how much you got paid, and you can double check.
Yeah. And by the way, they run an annual audit, so don't worry. Even something missed in the middle, they run an annual audit, and they will be back by July with an answer if they feel anything needs to be changed or anything went wrong. So don't worry about your money. Just be careful not to pay them a lot and be efficient.
Not to owe them a lot.
Exactly. Tax code K1104 non-com. What does that mean?
K11
K1104,
tax
and
code.
it's non-com.
Okay. It means you have income that's not being taxed, and it is more than your tax-free allowance. For example, you have cryptocurrency, you have shares, you have interest, and it is not being taxed. So that's why they issue that code to collect the money.
So they just backing up themselves.
Yes,
So yeah,
yes.
they telling you that this don't rely on this free allowance because this
Or
will
if you owe them tax from the previous year, which you didn't pay, then they will also use the K tax code.
yeah, good.
Or you are getting benefits you need to pay tax on. For example, state benefits or company benefits. So
Ala is not
basically, it is something you owe, which you don't pay through your salary. That's why they reduce your allowance.
exactly. Ala is not about you working outside the bank or another trust. Is basically the tax you have paid already is not the full tax you owe them. So there is some money you haven't been taxed for. It could be from your main employment, like an bank, like last month of the year, anything like that. So they give you this tax code to say that this allowance doesn't reflect the actual allowance because you owe us some money. Is there a direct WhatsApp number to contact? So it will be
It's
like
on the screen. It's on the
yeah,
screen.
the screen. So yeah, but again, guys, please and please and please be very specific, and we need it. A lot of question can be answered by ChatGPT. So if you feel something which really need advice, we're more than happy to do. And myself,
But
you
always ask ChatGPT for a reference, for a link, because
yeah,
sometimes
exactly.
it creates, numbers and rules out of the, thin air.
Yeah, my advice for you if you're using Perplexity is much more accurate
Yes,
because it
yes.
gives you a reference. So ask the question, clear prompting, mention you are a 20 years experienced accountant in UK, and I want to ask about this. It will give you an answer with a reference. So Perplexity is much better than ChatGPT in this. And if you don't have an answer or you feel that the answer is confusing, it's not clear, so you can reach myself or Muhammad, and we'll be more than happy to answer you.
Inshallah.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, and thanks, Muhammad. And hopefully, we'll see you very soon. And yeah, have all a good evening.
Please remember my brother in your dua who passed
Sure,
away last
sure,
week.
sure. Allah
Inshallah.
yarham. Sure,
Jazakumullah
sure.
khair.
We will
Thank
do.
you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Salam
Bye.
alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Bye.